is how the lung volume is divided up into different parts. Let me illustrate this. We'll plot the volume of air within the lungs as a function of time. And let's start off with a person breathing comfortably, not doing anything special, just sitting still, breathing. The volume of air exchanged during each resting breath is called the tidal volume. While it may feel to the person that he or she is moving a significant amount of air, you can see that as a fraction of the total air contained within the lung, this is actually just a small fraction. Imagine the patient is then specifically instructed to inhale as deeply as possible. The amount of volume the person has now inhaled above the normal tidal volume is called the inspiratory reserve volume. The patient is now asked to breathe out as completely as possible. The additional volume exhaled beyond what is exhaled during normal breathing is the expiratory reserve volume. And finally, when every last milliliter of air that can be squeezed out of the lungs has been, the volume of air that is still left inside is called the residual volume. Well, these are the 4 divisions of our lung volume that add up to our maximum possible lung volume. We typically don't consider the individual divisions during PFT interpretation as much as we consider specific groupings of volumes. These groupings are called capacities. For example, the inspiratory capacity is the sum of the tidal volume and the inspiratory reserve volume. The functional reserve capacity is the sum of the expiratory reserve volume and the residual volume. The vital capacity is the tidal volume plus the inspiratory and expiratory reserve volumes. And finally, everything added together is called the total lung capacity. I appreciate that these 8 terms seem more numerous than necessary and seem easy to get confused. That will become even more true once we start referring to all of them by their acronyms. All I can say is that I'm not personally responsible for the terminology, and you will really need to be able to use most of these terms fluently to have a solid understanding of